How was I to prove to myself I'm a man if I didn't do what I'm doing now? But I miss Maggie so much, I just hope to make it back to her somehow. Johnny said we'd see action tomorrow, and he's turned into one giant mess. He declares this war will never end, and he also declares his soul has never been blessed. But I told Johnny just to watch the elders and run when they run and draw back when they draw back, and they won't touch us unless they come up on a sneak attack. And we marched for about 6 or 7 miles today, and the cracks of distant battles bounced off trees. I think the generals are all scared and might run on nary a sneeze. And Johnny and I made our tent by a creek, and we heard the rebels were selling their slaves because they need more money to carry on. But I think they'll soon be running for the caves. And the creek was cold as I splashed water on my face, and I thought of Maggie and how she cried after I told her I was volunteering. But not to worry, I said, I shall return. And her mother was against the wedding. She said Maggie was too young and I should let her be, and her father felt the same way. So we left in the middle of the night and got married up in Missouri. The moonlight shined on Johnny's Arkansas toothpick, and his nervous eyes were always watching me. I told him to relax and breathe in the night, and he said he couldn't believe it's already 1863. And I rummaged through my haversack and shared my rations with him, and he told me about his parents back on the farm. They said war was the most inconceivable thing on the planet, so we joined the regiment silently because he didn't want to cause an alarm. But I believe what Johnny said about a clash with the rebels tomorrow, and I wondered how I'd react to my first test. And then I looked up at the moon because it was showering the camp with a soft glow, and as Johnny was eating the rations, I felt a great weight on my chest because I worry about him so much. First day I met Johnny, it always seemed like he was my brother, a younger brother that you always got to look after. His innocence is charming, but if he didn't have that, he would be a complete disaster. Our camp broke off into 3 groups that morning. I heard someone say adios, and the rain began to pour as the general barked orders, but I ignored him and told Johnny to stay close. And the brush was thick as we marched through the woods, and Johnny said I was talking to Maggie in my sleep. He said I mumbled, she's the measure of all of my dreams, and my soul is hers to keep. It's true. We came upon a clearing, and up ahead was a muddy hill, and behind us the trees seemed to be holding their breath. Then out of the deafening silence, a thunder exploded all around, and the rebels came running fast, their eyes filled with death. I aimed my rifle steady, but before I could squeeze the trigger, a bullet shattered my knee and I collapsed into the mud. And a Reb come running straight at me. I grabbed my blade as the Reb got close, and then I heard a pop and his face exploded, and Johnny screamed, I got him. And then the battle scene faded away, and it felt like I imploded. And there I was, walking hand in hand with Maggie, and we were in the meadow behind our house, and she threw a smile my way as the tall grass played with her blouse. And I told her I should have never left her. Then boom, I saw Johnny's face, and he said, we got all the rebels, now it's time to get out of this place. And as Johnny was helping me off the field, I turned around and most of my regiment was lying in the grass. Their lifeless bodies seemed to be free of all the anger they had held in the past. And then I looked at Johnny as he was struggling to support me, and a flood of tears came rolling out of my eyes. I couldn't believe I'd ever worried about him so much. Through him, I'd found a state of grace that most men will never realize. I was biting down on a piece of wood and staring up the top of the tent because old Sawbones was cutting my leg off, and I was trying to figure out what this all meant. I came here to prove that I was a man, but if my proof was losing a leg in a bloody war, I would have rather stayed a boy and let manhood sail away to a distant shore. waved goodbye to Johnny as the wagon carried me away, and I could still feel my toes that weren't there. Then Johnny came running after me, and he said, "We'll see each other soon, I swear." But as the wheels churned through the mud, I knew I'd never see him again. And then Johnny stopped in the middle of the road, his face lit up with a giant grin. And a couple weeks later, I hobbled up to my house and I saw Maggie in the garden. And she ran to me, and we held each other for hours. And I told her I was home. I'm home. Mr. Randy Johnson.